Hey guys, welcome to our very first community call. Um, if you are active in Matchbox DAO, then please come on stage or request to speak, and I will uh, give you the permission.
What's your definition of active?
It's fine. Like anyone who wants to talk, basically can come on stage. Like I don't want to talk for like an hour straight, so it's always good to have some people.
All right, deal. I'll be on mute for now, though.
That's fine. It's great to see so many familiar faces. Ellie, Terrence, Mist, Tom Rocks, you guys can all request to speak and I'll bring you on stage. Awesome. Casey as well, Angelo and Hugo, Mist, Edouard, Solnesk, you can all, Francesco as well. Let's get everybody in here. Awesome. I'd suggest let's wait for like 30 more seconds and then we can start. We've got a lot to talk about today, so I'm sure we can make it in 1 hour, but I'll try my best. Also great to see Odin in the audience. Shout out to the Soccer team.
Yeah, big shout out to Odin because I don't think, at least I know, I would have probably never heard of Starknet if it were not for Swagtimus and Odin on Twitter. So big shout out to them.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes, of course. Thank you.
All right. Let's just dive right in. This is our very first community call in Matchbox DAO. As you know, we have the weekly dev calls, but apart from that, we've been kind of quiet about what we've been doing, and for good reason, because we've been working really hard in the background to get some of the foundational pieces in place that we believe will help Matchbox DAO achieve our vision. And so, yeah, we have a lot to talk about today. Maybe we should start by giving some broad context about what Matchbox is and what we do. At Matchbox DAO, we basically put everything into three different pillars. And one of those pillars is our incubation program, also known as the grant program. One of those pillars is the investment/partnership program. And the third pillar is our own core product. And I will be diving into all three of those today, and we really have a lot to talk about, a lot more than just these three pillars, because everything is kind of interconnected. So I'd say let's just get started with the incubation program. It's been running for a couple of months now. And basically what it is, it means we give out grants to games and game-related projects in very early stages. It's mostly teams of single people, sometimes several people. And initially, we had a model where we give out a sum of money every month. We've now changed this to basically give out the bulk of the grant money only upon the delivery of the actual product or what we have agreed to. And we've done this to basically have a better grip on the project, so we can better track their progress. And so we have like over a dozen projects in the grants program right now. And we have like 10 projects that we are very optimistic about because they have like strong devs, passionate devs, and they have just been delivering. And so I will very briefly try to walk us through all of these 10 projects, and I try to really keep it short. So the first project we are optimistic about is the procedural world generation. It's basically a terrain generation for any kind of game that would need it. And this terrain generation contract is working. It can be rendered even, like we've had a 3D demo, which looks very Minecraft-like. And so this is basically a working component for any game that needs it and can be integrated. The second project we are really optimistic about, especially optimistic about this, is OGame. OGame is this space game that's modeled after a very successful browser game from the early 2000s, which was called OGame, and so now it's actually called No Game to avoid any trademark kind of stuff. Basically, it's taking on shape. It's really great. The core functionality is working, like all of the buildings, all of the kind of resource stuff, the planets and asteroids. So the core functionality is working. Now it's really about extending features for the game, and they've also now have a new front end and design, so it looks like really polished right now. It's obviously still in progress, right? It's still on Starknet testnet, but it's really promising, and I think it's going to be a beloved game in Matchbox style. The next project we are very optimistic about is the .NET SDK, and initially we had some trouble with this project, but it's made some really good progress lately, and because we've had the help of a senior .NET developer, which is helping out our grantee, and yeah, it's really going along fairly smoothly, I would say. And what this does is basically it allows us to connect Unity games to Starknet, and which is obviously a big deal, right? Being able to program Unity games and connect them to Starknet. The next kind of project we think can have big implications are MEV tools. And currently MEV is always a big topic, right? But in games it's kind of overlooked. And we believe that if we have more and more complex games on Starknet, enabled by Starknet, then MEV could be a big topic in games because there's just going to be so much you can do and so many mechanics, so many items, resources, and so on and so forth. And so our grantee, he's trying out all of the games that will launch on Starknet, and he's writing code for us to try to come up with like strategies and see if there are any loopholes, any interesting kind of things that he encounters. And he's going to write code on that, and then ultimately write a research report on that with what he found. And if we think, even though this is not a traditional kind of project, we think this is still important to do because it allows us to gain insight into what the on-chain gaming community might encounter in the future in terms of MEV, and we think that's just important to think and talk about. The next project we are optimistic about is GameClock. It's built on top of Yagify. Yagify is a keeper network on Starknet. And Yagify allows for automated actions in pretty much any kind of project on Starknet. And this game clock is a pretty important feature for any kind of on-chain game on Starknet because it kind of expands upon that functionality for games. So anything you would like to automate in a game, this is going to be a core kind of component of that. And there's obviously a ton of use cases for that, right? Then the next project we are excited about is our music tools, and this is basically a dynamic on-chain music generator. And what this means is basically that we will be able to generate music on-chain in a dynamic way. So, for example, you can set up a trigger in a game, and then a certain sound is going to play, and this is going to be managed on-chain, right? It's really exciting. We think games should have music if applicable, if it makes sense. And so we think this is a really, really cool project, and it's also been making a good amount of progress. So really looking forward to seeing how we can integrate that into different games. Then next up we have Arcane. Arcane is a game that's on Arbitrum currently. And originally the plan was to port it over to Starknet. And I've actually just yesterday had a call with Mist, who's behind the project, and we've decided, or he has decided, to rebrand this game into Star Odyssey. And the reason for that is that it's just kind of too complex to port the game over to Starknet and then basically manage both games and keep porting over features from Arbitrum to Starknet. It's just kind of too much. And so it's rebranded now into a different game, and and it's going to be StarkNet specific, so that also allows him to focus more on the StarkNet side of things and implement any kind of interesting features that you can only do in StarkNet. And the game itself, it's a tile grid-based game world. It's very extensible, and it has like the potential to become some kind of meta game world where each game can inhabit its own planet and it's all connected. It's like really cool, really ambitious. Miss is really talented, and very much looking forward to seeing that come to fruition. And also the basic functionality is already working, like the grid system, some items. Some of that basic functionality is already working. It's already done. So it's about basically it's for him. It's about to keep building on it and keep extending it and keep working on it. And we're very excited about that. Now, the next project we're excited about is the guild system, which is also, I think, a big value add for on-chain games. Basically means that gamers will be able to create and manage guilds, and this allows for several cool mechanics. For example, you can share certain items or assets or resources among all players in a guild, for example, which also has very interesting implications. But this is not everything. For example, you can also deal with like loans or lend out stuff, but it also allows for example, coordinated in-game actions. So as a guild, you can kind of coordinate your actions on chain, like actual state transitions. And so that's really interesting. And we think this can be a great value add to any kind of game that wants to implement that. The next project we're optimistic about is Deadly Games. Deadly Games is an NFT collection that lives on Ethereum, but they are going to build several games on StarkNet. And these games, it's kind of funny, they're based on sins, so like the classical sins. And the games are kind of drifting into the social experiments kind of way of playing. And for example, they've hired someone to kind of analyze different kind of social experiment things, and to basically come up with really interesting games and game mechanics. And so I think this could be super, super interesting. Definitely worth keeping an eye on it. And the next project we're super excited about, and the last of these 10 projects I wanted to quickly dive into, it's called Arcticium, and it's a dApp that allows you to trade whitelist spots for NFTs. So we think this can be a value add in certain cases because all of these gas wars and trying to compete for whitelist spots, it can kind of be circumvented this way, and allows for like a more open and more fair way of getting into a whitelist, I guess. Nonetheless, we don't know for sure if this is kind of something that many people want to necessarily use, because it also has other implications. Because if you don't have to compete for a whitelist spot by doing tasks, and you can just buy your way in, then some people might not like that. But nevertheless, we think it's an interesting functionality, and we just want to kind of experiment with it. And they are also building the equivalent of SudoSwap on StarkNet, which is, if you're not familiar with SudoSwap, it basically allows you to trade your NFTs directly for other NFTs and make up in price differences with like different NFTs instead of having to use ETH. And we think that's definitely a useful kind of primitive that's currently not on StarkNet yet. And so this is our incubation program. We're still following it, and we're still getting new applications, and we're definitely looking to support this even in the future, because we think it just adds a ton of ideas, a ton of experiments, and a ton of cool stuff that we can definitely kind of add to the growing library of stuff in Matchbox. Then we have the second pillar. Like I initially described Matchbox having like 3 pillars. The first pillar is the incubation program. Now we're getting into the second pillar. And the second pillar is our investments and partnerships. And actually, I will just start out with this and say that, and announce basically that we have partnered up with Cartridge.gg. And Cartridge is a StarkNet gaming console, and Terence is on this call. Terence, if you would like to briefly introduce yourself and talk a bit about Cartridge and our partnership, that would be great.
Definitely. Yeah, thank you for having me, and super excited to partner with Matchbox. So Cartridge is basically something that manifested out of the creation of the dope boards and the development of the roll your own game engine, and pushing on that dimension of like what do fully on-chain games look like, we realize there's a lot of pieces that are missing to make these games like both like easily accessible for players and easily developable for devs. And so Cartridge is basically building out horizontal gaming products to help accelerate the development of the StarkNet gaming ecosystem. The two pieces that we're building right now is the controller and the arcade. The controller is basically like your gamer profile, and it has similar APIs that you would expect from a gaming console, like if you were playing on Xbox or you have a Steam account or something like that. So it's a place for you to track all the games that you're involved in, to see the assets that you have, to track like the achievements that you have in game, and kind of build up your gamer reputation over time. And then on top of that, it creates new patterns for interacting with blockchain games to help reduce like the overhead of interactions, like for example transaction confirmation, so like delegated transactional approval flows, and managing permissions for that. And so the cartridge controller, the plan is to be a plugin for Argent controller, so you can basically take your or the Argent wallets, you can take your existing wallet, plug in the cartridge controller, and then have like all this gaming functionality enabled. And so that we're looking to launch in the next couple of weeks. And then the other one is the arcade, and the arcade is basically around discovery. So it's a place to find games in the StarkNet gaming ecosystem, maybe based on like your interests or the assets that you own. It's for a place for games to like list themselves for distribution, to kind of put themselves out there so people can find them. We're working on things to make it easy for players to onboard into games, because traditionally speaking, blockchain games have been, this is one of the core challenge that we had at Dope Wars. It's like very hard to onboard new players into the ecosystem, because a lot of times there's different assets. Sometimes you have to buy things. And so thinking about, like how can we make it super easy for a player that is coming into the ecosystem to try out a game, like maybe loan assets, maybe like sponsor transactions and stuff like that. And also I think is it will serve as an integration point for different protocol level functionality. So if you have like, for example, like Yagi provides automation, a lot of games have some automated component for them. So a place for you to like manage those kind of things inside kind of the game context. So yeah, those are the things we're working on right now. You'll see us pushing out more and more stuff as we go. We're just getting started, and yes, super excited to bring the StarkNet gaming ecosystem to life with the help of Matchbox DAO.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Terence, for this summary. We're obviously super excited about this and grateful to partner with you guys. And this partnership is basically a part of the new Matchbox Spark program. And the Matchbox Spark program is basically our investment program where we invest into projects that we believe add a ton of value to the on-chain gaming space on StarkNet. And Cartridge is like our first investment in that direction. And we have another announcement to make, and that is that Peteris from Yagify, he will be leading this Matchbox Spark program, because he has excellent expertise in investing in his background, and so he's going to lead this program for Matchbox. And we're not done with announcements yet. The next announcement is basically we're announcing Matchbox Studios and Flagship games. And what this means, it kind of ties into our whole vision for Matchbox DAO. And what Matchbox Studios is basically a set of core games and a suite of tools for accelerating game development. We always thought that Matchbox DAO should become kind of a decentralized game studio as our long-term vision, our long-term play, and now we're making the first step towards that vision and towards pursuing that. And so what does this mean specifically? It basically means that we are partnering with games on StarkNet to bring together all of their expertise, all of their skills, all of their knowledge, all of their tools, all of the kind of tech stack that they have developed and accumulated. And all of that is going to be open source. And so by doing that, basically we create the most compelling dev environment for games on StarkNet. And because essentially it means that instead of these games kind of being competitive and all on their own and kind of competing for users and so on, all of these kind of games will be more cooperative and basically aligned with each other, because it means that they'll be able to share all of their expertise with each other and support each other, and this kind of ties into the whole dream about composability and interoperability, right? Because just think about some games may have like really interesting tech, really interesting mechanics, really interesting components, really interesting contracts, and by sharing all of that with all of the other games, we can just create this really good dev environment where instead of everyone building their own kind of stuff, we can kind of more tightly cooperate. And we think this is just going to accelerate the development and make it easier for games to develop their game. And also it enhances the interoperability because everybody knows, okay, they are working on this, we are working on that. How can we kind of tie this maybe together or make it kind of interoperable in some kind of way? And so we've already partnered with 2 games on Starknet, and these games are Exofium and iCar. They will become Matchbox's flagship games. And for Exofium, we have Angelo and Hugo on this call. Would you guys like to briefly introduce yourselves and talk a bit about Exofium and also why you're excited to partner with Matchbox? That would be great.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for the presentation. And yeah, Exodium spawned like 4 months ago by me and Hugo. Me and Hugo are Web2 developers, full stack developers, but we already made a game in 2018 in layer 1 called Crypto Dungeons, and now we jumped into Starknet, and we are starting to develop our dream goal, that it's Exodium. Exodium, it's something like Blizzard that we are trying to mimic. Of course, we are not Blizzard, of course, but we are trying to do an ecosystem that shares lore, and this is perfect with the Matchbox vision. So by that, we are building our first game that is called Exodium World. Exodium World is basically a game where you are going to explore the world. Exodium World is taking place in different dimensions, and everyone can join a dimension and start exploring. People will I cannot say the main objective of the game because that's something that it's intrinsic in the tokenomics, and we don't want to share the tokenomics at least at the first phase. But everyone can join the world, discover it. They will need to survive that world. By that, they have to hunt, they have to sleep, they have to sleep outside, they have to eat, they have to take care of themselves, basically. It's a shame that I cannot share the screens here in community calls, can I? No. And yeah, so we are now partnering with Matchbox, since we have the same vision. Everything that we are doing is open source, and we want to continue with that vision, and that matches perfectly with Matchbox. And we will also with Exodium World, we will share it or integrate it in Matchbox as a product. And everything inside it will be open source for everyone to use. We are also building not only the game, but also tools for whitelisting, but that's outside the scope of blockchain. We are doing whitelisting tools for Twitter, GitHub, and other platforms. And yeah, I think that's basically it. I don't know, Hugo, if you want to say anything else.
Hey guys, thanks for having me. You said it all. Our Exodium world is a hexagon shape tile map, and you will basically survive. You create an instance, and you can bring your friends to that game, and create your own game with your own parameters, like a really massive board game. And with all our tools, we want to create more possibilities inside that world. So you can create new buildings, new eras, like Stone Age era or Cyberpunk era, Solarpunk. And with that, we can create more games with different eras, or create a game with a time span of 1 year, 2 years, 1 week, or eternal dimension. So the tools will be right there to everyone to use. We are using Phaser. Phaser is a game engine in JavaScript, and it will be fully compatible with StartNet.js, and it's super easy to implement everything right there. So our tools and our examples will be available. Our spec is already, it's kind of freezed. So we are doing some community calls, and the calls guide us to our spec, and you can see our spec in our GitHub repository. It's an organization called Exodium, so you can give it an eye on there. And yeah, it's kind of all. I don't know. We will do more stuff in Matchbox. We will help Matchbox DAO in some other areas, in the product area, like help creating the applications for staking and other kind of stuff. But I don't know, Swag, if you want to share that right now, or if it's kind of all for now.
Yeah, we'll be talking about that later on in the call as well.
A little bit.
But that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. We're super excited about
Thank you.
Exodium. Super excited to partner with you guys. We can't wait to see the game and see how it plays. And I think we're just very, very aligned on our
Yeah.
vision. So it's really exciting times ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And we've also partnered with iCar, and iCar will also be a Matchbox flagship game. And we have Thomas from iCar on this call as well. Thomas, would you like to briefly introduce yourself, talk a bit about iCar, and why you're excited to partner with Matchbox?
Sure. So hello everyone, and thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Maybe I could start with a short presentation of what is iCar and what it is about. So this is a fully on-chain game, a strategy game where you control a group of settlers who left their planet because of the explosion of their star, and they cross the cosmos to the planet of iCar. In this game, you can conquer territories, exploit natural resources, and even attack other colonies. Being fully on-chain means a few things for us. First, the game is unstoppable. Secondly, we cannot change the rules over time. And the last point, and I think this is the most important here, it's the interoperability. And that's why we are really excited to work with Matchbox, because by connecting the different games together, Matchbox will allow a true ecosystem to grow, and they will bring us their gaming expertise, the community, the SM community, their infrastructure and standards developed by the community. And on our side, we are facing many technical challenges, and we hope that the solutions that we find, obviously they will be open source, and we hope that they will be useful to the community of builders on Matchbox.
Awesome, thank you, Thomas. And we're super excited about this because again, it's very aligned with our vision, and it's like all about pushing the space forward and making it easier to develop games. And to that end, I think this is a really great partnership as well. And yeah, super excited about this. And yeah, basically, if you are listening and you are building a game, or you know someone who's building a game and you would like to partner as well and become kind of part of this initiative, then don't hesitate to reach out. We would love to have you. It's going to push the space forward. We're going to share all of our knowledge. We will support each other. It's going to be awesome, and we can only invite you to basically join us and contact us and get in touch. I think the more people join and the more projects join, the more games join, the better all of this is going to become for everybody. And Starknet is a giant untapped opportunity right now. So it makes all the sense in the world to do this, in our opinion. So yeah, this is the second pillar that we talked about, investments and partnerships. We're going to announce all of this, of course, soon with like a proper article going through all of the details. But we thought we'd give our community like the first tips on these announcements. Now let's get to our third pillar, and that's our own core product, like Matchbox DAO's core product. And what we mean by that is basically shared infrastructure for our games and projects. And what do we mean by shared infrastructure? Basically means we mean things like an NFT marketplace, a DEX for in-game assets like resources or items, a staking portal that allows people to stake their NFTs, potentially also NFTs of non-Matchbox DAO projects, like in the spirit of composability and interoperability. Also a minting contract for NFTs, NFT sales, and so on. And the reason we are building this is basically, again, aligned with our vision, because if you are on Starknet and you're developing a game, then you would have to kind of take care of all of those things yourself, right? You would have to come up with a minting contract, you would have to come up with staking, you'd have to come up with a DEX, or at least make a partnership with someone. And so you would have to build a lot of those things yourself. And so our goal is to kind of create the framework for this for basically all of the Matchbox DAO projects and games and anyone who wants to use it, in order to speed up the dev time, right? It's one less thing that game devs have to worry about. If all of this infrastructure already exists, then it's going to make it super easy to kind of plug in your game to that, and we're just going to take care of that. And so we are building this. We are in the process of building the roadmap for that and building these steps. And to this end, we've again partnered with Angelo and Hugo from Exovium, like Hugo already briefly mentioned. They have deep experience building games and infrastructure, also in Web 2, and they will be leading this effort for Matchbox DAO. And we're currently like figuring out the roadmap to doing that. Yeah, super excited about this as well. I think a lot of things right now are really coming together in terms of how all of this is going to shape up, and it's just really exciting. The time ahead is going to be really exciting. And so these are Matchbox DAO's three kind of pillars: the incubation program, the investment partnership program, and our core product. But that's not all of the news we have to share. Like we have more. It just keeps on coming. We've been very busy. And so in other news, we have onboarded Ellie to help support Matchbox and our partners and our projects with their kind of go-to-market efforts and bizdev. Ellie, could you maybe briefly introduce yourself, also about your background, why you're a good fit for this, and talk a bit about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, thanks for this community call. So yeah, so I'm Ellie or Lucing on Discord. I've been joining Matchbox for the past months actually. Yeah, we'll be helping on the go-to-market side. I mean, any business-related things. When it comes to like doing intros to VCs, to like preparing to launch, to connect the right people, to also just make sure we onboard the best beat for the best grantees, and also in terms of like investment at the end of the incubation. Also, yeah, so basically helping the teams on any business-related topics they might face during the incubation. And yeah, so these two parts. So pre-incubation, just select the good teams, the good project, and the go-to-market. Yeah, so my background, just real fast, been in crypto for the past 5 to 6 years. I was like very into just very deep within the French community. First, they were involved. Administrator of the biggest community Can you hear me? There's a few trouble.
We can hear you, but you're kind of muted sometimes.
Yeah, okay, better now. So yeah, so basically the whole thing is so yes, like very into the French community, administrator of the biggest French crypto group, crypto group in France. And then yeah, like I was part of the investment team at Greenfield, which is like the largest VC in Europe, crypto VC in Europe. We're like backing. We have backed 1inch. I mean, back then, 1inch, Settle, Near, Dapple Labs, Flow, YGG on the gaming side, and a few others. So yeah, so that's basically my background. And currently, things like as you know, as you already said about the project, it's the very beginning, so not much to do with the go-to-market. So at the moment, currently preparing the hackathon that is going to take place in July. So that's one of our a main focus for us. So yeah, in 2 weeks, this hackathon, and yeah, that's basically it currently.
Yeah, awesome, Ellie. Thank you. Yeah, I think it's great that you're so well connected in the French crypto community, because obviously the French community in Starknet is also pretty big. So that's a great fit, and we're very happy to work with you. And also, while we're at it, we can also introduce AssetBird. AssetBird is leading the kind of foundation efforts, like the Matchbox DAO Foundation and the kind of financial side of things. Can you briefly introduce yourself, Asset?
Yeah, hi guys. Maybe someone already knows me. I'm in crypto space since 2017. I was doing community in different projects, managing several funds. So I have a lot of experience also outside crypto with managing things like operations and stuff. And I'm mainly doing investor relations in Matchbox Foundation. And yeah, very happy to be here with you. We have a big team and it's growing every day. We have grantees and we are very bullish on Starknet. And yeah, we're happy to work with the Starknet team as well. I mean, Matchbox is, in my opinion, is a great fit in the ecosystem, and I'm sure it will grow exponentially. And you know, when I join the Discord and see how many discussions happening here and everything, like it's really cool. Like you know, developers can and find support here from other guys who are building in Cairo already. Like some guys outside from other ecosystems joining and you know welcomed here. It's amazing to see. So yeah, happy to be on board with the team. And you know, if you have any questions or whatever, just ping me on Discord or Telegram. We'll be happy to help. Thank you, Swag.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, that's great. But we are not done with news yet. Like we have more. So basically, what we've seen over the past kind of months in Matchbox DAO is that we've had lots of people come into Matchbox, into the Discord, or also just DMing me and asking like, hey, how can I contribute? Like, how do I get involved? Like, what can I do? And admittedly, it's been a bit difficult for new people to come in, because we've kind of been super busy, and also we've had like kind of established workflows. And so in order to kind of address this, we've basically thought a long time, okay, how do we design and how do we use a kind of contribution system that makes it easy for people to come in and kind of propose ideas or make suggestions, or kind of how do we more efficiently manage certain workflows that have to do with the DAO. And so we finally like found a solution. And so what we're going to do is we're going to use a contribution system that's called Wonderverse.xyz. And we're going to use that to manage some of the DAO's workflows. And using Wonderverse, we can basically track and reward people's contributions. It allows us to set up working groups, which is really good, because we are already operating under this kind of system of different working groups. And one example for this, for a working group is, for example, our content writing team. They've been really doing amazing work, pushing out tweets, long form articles on Mirror, and also organizing workshops on Twitter. If you guys want to say hi, that's, for example, native 0x or no process. If you guys want to briefly say hi, that would be cool.
Yeah, I'll go. So kind of background myself, like I've spent about 10 years at the intersection of kind of traditional finance and tech. So basically spent the last 5 years of my kind of TradFi tech background basically kind of making and kind of running tech incubators, mainly focused on kind of disrupting technology stuff. Been in crypto kind of about 6 years as well, similar to Ellie, but kind of full time the last kind of 3 years. Done a bunch of stuff across kind of other incubators in the space, so like Alliance DAO, and kind of worked like alongside other projects closely from a kind of strategy, kind of biz dev, kind of investing side of things, helping with growth and kind of strategic investments, that type of thing. So at the moment with Matchbox, working closely mainly with Ellie on the kind of the incubator accelerator stuff, bringing in my kind of background and experience doing that. Really, that's me.
All right, and I am No Process on the content team. I started with Matchbox about 3 months ago, but been in crypto since 2017. Like Native said, I wasn't really ever full time in crypto until like 21, roughly. But just really, basically came into the Discord here, message Swagtimus, very approachable, and the rest is history on that side. I've worked in a few other crypto protocols. Like I'm big in the FX hash community. If anyone like collects generative art on Tezos, I know it's a pretty specific area. Definitely a lot of Ethereum folks don't take too kindly to Tezos, but it's a pretty good gen art platform. So that's sort of been my interest as of late, and also creating content for the Matchbox team. Just pushing out tweets and trying to, like message the people I know and get them connected. I've also been trying to learn Cairo as just a complete and total brainlet, like someone with like very basic HTML experience, like pretty much no coding experience. So I think it'll be interesting to like, I guess, take notes and journal along the way to see how the UI UX of like the tutorials and that sort of thing is for someone with absolutely no coding experience. So that's sort of been my little side project, is just to see how much I can learn, without any former coding knowledge. But yeah, I'm very, very happy to be here. I'm happy to be introduced to Cairo and all of the gaming devs. I've learned so much already about what is coming on in the space. So very appreciative to be here.
Awesome, thank you.
What's up, guys? I'm 0x Hank. By day, I'm working on Dark Forest Arena. For those who don't know, Dark Forest is like kind of, I guess it's kind of the flagship on-chain game to this point, and I've just been kind of jamming on it and trying to make it approachable for more players. It's not on Starknet right now, but maybe one day, who knows. With Matchbox, I do a fair bit of writing. I'm kind of the writer at the moment, along with No Process and some other guys. Yeah, that's me.
Awesome, thank you. And so circling back to the Wonderverse contribution system, it basically means that it's a great fit for example, for the content writing team, right? Because they'll be able to more efficiently manage workflows, and it also enables us to kind of give outside people the chance to contribute, right? They can just come in and say, hey, I'd like to tweet about this or that, I'd like to write about this or that. They can just kind of suggest this idea, and then we can go over it and kind of manage that much more efficiently than having to deal with like DMs and how do we reward this and so on and so forth. So it's going to be much more straightforward from this point on. Yeah, we'll have groups for many of the processes in the DAO. We can also, for example, create a group for the grantees, because, for example, I think the .NET SDK project is a great example for this, where experienced people can or would like to kind of contribute, but they're not part of a grants program. So how do we handle that? And one way of handling that is to just create a group for the grantees on Wonderverse and then making that public so that anybody can come in and kind of track the progress and offer their help, and then we can appropriately kind of reward that. And so moving forward, this will be super helpful. I'd just like to mention that Wonderverse is really new. It launched like publicly a week ago or so. So it might be a bit rough around the edges, but we think it has like a lot of functionality, a lot of interesting stuff that's a good fit for Matchbox. And so we're gonna take things easy and then kind of integrate with it deeper and deeper over time. And also Wonderverse, it's an off-chain system for now. So we obviously want to push things on chain, and so to pursue that end, we are exploring a collaboration with OnlyDust. OnlyDust is this team on Starknet that creates all of these tutorials for learning Cairo, and but they have like some really cool ambitions, and one of those ambitions is they're working on building an on-chain NFT reputation system. And what that means is, for example, you can verify and plug in your GitHub, and then you'll be able to basically get a badge on your NFT if you contributed to a repo or did some coding. And so we thought this is super interesting, and it's kind of what we wanted to do originally. And so we are collaborating with them, and it also means like their system is modular, so we can pull the data from different places, and so we can just pull the data from Wonderverse and feed it into this NFT system, and then your NFT is going to show all of your contributions to Matchbox. And so that's something that's really cool. We're collaborating with OnlyDust on that. I think the first version of that is going to be live in a few weeks or so. It's going to be fairly basic. I think it's just going to support GitHub for now. But we're working with them. We're exploring how to use that because we think this is a great fit, and we can again spearhead kind of this kind of effort of putting things on chain on Starknet, even with the contributions. So very excited about that, but it's obviously going to take a while until that is fleshed out. So going to take a while, but super ambitious, super interesting stuff. Then last but not least, we are organizing a hackathon for Matchbox. It's going to happen from July 3rd to July 10th. Ellie has been doing a ton of great work on that. We have a website called matchboxdao.com. You can visit it. It has all of the information. It's a hackathon for game devs and but also like game related projects. So if you have any kind of idea that adds value to on-chain gaming, then just go ahead and apply. Really, we're going to check it out. We have Cairo tutorials on the site, like for example some of the Starkling stuff from the OnlyDust guys. They have really great tutorials to learn Cairo. So even if you don't know Cairo yet, it's a great place to get your feet wet and learn Cairo. We have a list of ideas for projects that you may want to follow or get inspired by. You can also get inspired by all of the projects we have at Matchbox DAO. So just come take a look at everything that's going on. There's so many moving parts. I'm sure you'll find something. And if you're not a dev or you're not interested, then like sharing the news of the hackathon would be greatly appreciated to any kind of builder friends you have. We have like really great judges for the hackathon. We have someone from Polychain, we have Louis from Starkware, we have Julian from Argent, we have Will Robin from Alliance DAO, we have Nico Verike from Bitcraft, we have Sylv and a lot of a few from Realms and Brick. We have tons of mentors, like basically all of our grantees in Matchbox, they will be mentoring all of the Matchbox hackathon participants. So if you need help, even in development or anything really, then you're going to get help. We have this really great channel on Matchbox on the Discord that's called Dev Cairo. So any of your Cairo dev questions, they can just throw them in there, and usually someone is going to reply and help you out. And we also have a channel dedicated to the hackathon itself. So if you have any questions about that, or if you're trying to find a team, just go there. There's tons of people always ready to help. Like we have a really great community. Yeah, I think that's roughly everything. Yoni, if you want to say a few words, I don't know if you've prepared anything, but if you want to say something, feel free to say anything.
I think you said everything. I'm just said that I'm excited about everything, and just as a high overview, the way everything that we discussed today connect together is that we are trying to hopefully get into a position where in 1 year from now we will enable any game developer to build and launch a game very fast, hopefully within a couple of weeks, using existing stuff and an existing user base. So that's the kind of long-term goal that's how everything is connecting into a coherent view. But I'm just happy to see everything happening, and that's it.
Yeah, I can totally echo this. We've been really hard at work over the past few months, kind of duking out, okay, how do we want to structure things? How is it all going to come together? And I think right now we're really seeing things kind of shaping up really really nicely. Like a ton of stuff is just falling into place. Our vision is kind of we're taking the first steps towards it. Everything makes sense. All of the kind of partners, all of the community, we're really aligned on the open source stuff, on the vision to make it easier for people to develop games, to push the space forward. Because we now, thanks to Starknet, have this opportunity to actually create really nice on-chain games. I think that's it for the community call. If anyone has like questions or wants to say anything, then feel free to raise your hand. I can bring you on stage and you can ask questions. We have like 10 minutes until we're up to an hour. I've pushed really hard to make it fast and short and sweet. If anybody has any questions, then feel free to raise your hand. I'll bring you on stage. Or if anyone on stage wants to ask something, go ahead. Codium, you're unmuted, but we can't hear you. So if you want to say anything, we cannot hear you right now. Does anybody else have anything, any questions? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Hello. Hello, guys. Very excited to join. So just wanted to present myself. I just discovered like the whole Starknet ecosystem maybe 1 month ago, and then I quickly ended up on Matchbox DAO and OnlyDust. So yeah, really excited to participate in this new gaming area on Starknet. So I wrote a small article to explain the reason why I decided to go on Starknet. In case you're interested, you can just check out on my link on my Twitter. And I'm pretty excited too to participate in the hackathon. So yeah, really excited to do the hackathon with all of you guys.
That's awesome. Definitely. You can post a link to the article you wrote in like a general chat or something, and so people can check it out. Can go ahead with that. What are you going to build for the hackathon if you want to spill the beans? Like you don't have to, but I'm curious.
Yeah. So basically, for the hackathon, I needed a brick to bridge between what happened in game and what happened on the Discord. So it's a bit like a collab land, if you know about it, on the other ecosystem. Basically, we want, when someone has an NFT, we want to assign automatically a role in the Discord, so he can get access to private channels, and it can unlock like guild systems, and people collaborate with collective strategies. So yeah, that's what we're gonna be doing with Pascal So. I'm not sure if it's in the community call, but yeah, will be 2 devs and 1 designer and 1 marketing guy to build this, and we'll publish it open source, of course. So if people want to contribute after the hackathon, they will be able to improve the bot. So yeah, quite excited.
That's really cool. Awesome. It's great that you're participating in the hackathon. Definitely has potential. Anyone have any questions for us or for anything? We'd be happy to answer. If there are no questions, then I would also like to invite you to the next dev call, which is going to be tomorrow at 5 p.m. CET as well. And we've been thinking about making this dev call a bit hackathon focused. So if you are a grantee or game dev or have any thoughts on the hackathon, then we could have like a nice little brainstorming session to basically come up with ideas for the hackathon and add that to a list so that all of the participants or anybody who's considering participating has like a really nice list of ideas to get inspired. So if you're interested in that, kind of just hanging out and talking about like ideas you want to see in the on-chain gaming space, then definitely come to tomorrow's call. We can have a nice little brainstorming session to come up with ideas for projects for the hackathon, or we can discuss really anything you want to. We're pretty flexible tomorrow. And Fugu is asking to come on stage.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
All right, great. I had a question, an ecosystem question, actually. Now that you have gaming on Starknet, what's the value prop of something like Immutable X, who just kind of introduces the IMX token in between the gamer and the blockchain, and also has more permissions, I guess, entrance, but at the same time they have a more developed business dev team. So yeah, how are you guys going to, I guess, compete, or how do you see the ecosystem playing out?
Yeah, that's a great question. Immutable X is on StarkX and not on StarkNet, so that's the difference right there already. So StarkX is like a more permissioned version of StarkNet, and it's in Validium mode. So it has off-chain data, and StarkNet has on-chain data. So StarkNet is more secure, but StarkX is much more scalable. So on StarkX you can have like 9,000 trades per second, or 9,000 NFT mints per second, and yeah, I guess that's an obvious difference. And the basically Immutable X is they're kind of really focused on bizdev. So they are offering zero gas fees on StarkX for anything, and but for that they take like 2% from every trade, every mint, every sale. So they're really taking quite a lot of money off the table and kind of inserting themselves as kind of a middleman there. So I'm not saying it's bad. It's certainly a really clever model and really good model. It just kind of really depends on what kind of values you have, I guess. Because on Starknet, everything we do is going to be open source. All of the projects we do will be open source. And Immutable X is kind of more like the mainstream arm of gaming and on-chain gaming. So I guess that's kind of the differentiator. And as far as I know, Immutable X is not planning to come to Starknet. They are building some solutions for bridging between StarkX and Starknet. But I don't think they are on Starknet, and I don't think they are necessarily planning to come to Starknet. I think they're very much pushing their StarkX instance, if that answers the question.
Got it. But I guess the second part of my question is that if you guys are on Starknet and they're on StarkX, doesn't it mean that any game that's on Starknet benefits from the constant development and input from the Starkware team and devs, whereas I would assume Immutable X is just buying the tech, right? Like how do they develop? Are they going to actually be upgrading the Immutable X StarkX by itself, or do they rely on outsourcing to the Starknet team?
So as far as I know, Immutable X is doing both. Starkware is developing the StarkX instances, but I think Immutable X, they have like a very capable team of Cairo devs, so I'm pretty sure they are developing their own kind of features and adding it to the tech stack there. I think. And on Starknet, it's obviously the Starkware team that's pushing the development. But also Starknet is at some point going to become fully decentralized, right? So anybody will be able to contribute to the development. It's going to be able to propose Starknet improvement proposals. We'll be able to propose improvements to Cairo, the language. So yeah, that's how it works.
Got it. And do you feel like you're going to have some competition between Starknet and Immutable X in terms of onboarding different games?
I mean, sure, there's going to be some shape of competition, right? Because obviously we're kind of doing similar things. I wouldn't say we're doing the exact same things because I think Immutable X is, as I said, more on the mainstream side of things. So they might not care as much about open sourcing everything or doing purely on-chain games, whereas we very much do. So certainly we are competing in some ways, but in some ways I think we are not. Also, I think we are also more focused on kind of bringing more kind of experimental use cases to on-chain gaming. And Immutable X is really just all about onboarding projects for the sake of it, right? To make money and to like I don't want to say it's just to make money, right? I'm pretty sure they're very passionate about gaming. But I think it tilts more towards the mainstream kind of side of things.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? We are right on time, 1 hour into the call. If there are no questions, then I'd be happy to wrap it up in order not to keep you guys here for like another hour. All right.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
yeah.
sorry. Maybe one thing to add about the competition that might happen between Immutable X and us. That like most of the game I've seen so far building around Immutable X are game like Aurori or Oxia. Like Aurori is on Solana, but it's like it's a game which will be off-chain and just with integration of blockchain, which is totally different. What we are doing here and seeking to do is for like fully on-chain game. So I think that going mainstream with Immutable will mostly seek of doing just integration of on-chain games, integration of blockchain instead of fully on-chain games. So that might be as well a big difference, like not in the near future, but like if you see long term, and we really believe the fully on-chain game will one day overtake the like just standard game. I think that's also one thing.
Yeah, that's very true. Can't agree more. That's by the way Edward, who's also a bit on the content side of things, but who's looking to get also more into the go-to-market business side once he has a bit more time on his hands. And I'd also like to add to that, basically, we also care about not just onboarding projects, but also about kind of making them a bit more interoperable and composable, right? That's kind of also a driving force for Matchbox. Like we don't want to just bring in projects and help projects build, but also kind of at least try to make it a composable, interoperable kind of vision. And I don't know if metaverse is a good description for that. It's like nobody likes the word anymore, so I'm not going to mention it. But I think that's also a driving focus for Matchbox to kind of try and make all of it collaborative and interactive and composable instead of just onboarding. So yeah, that's what we've been working on. I hope you enjoy. We obviously have a lot more stuff in the pipeline that we can't talk about yet. We're really busy trying to make all of this a reality. We hope you stick around and consider joining any of these kind of programs we have, or being active or contributing to the DAO using Wonderverse. If you have any questions or you want to talk about anything, you can do it in the Discord and general chat, or you can also just DM me or Yoni or any of the other contributors if you have any specific questions. We're always open to that, super approachable. And so yeah, thank you guys so much for attending. Now's the last chance to ask questions. If there are no questions, then I will wrap up the call. All right, that's it. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much for attending. Thank you to all of our partners who've presented their games and projects. Thank you to all our grantees who've been working hard on delivering their vision, and super exciting time ahead. I hope you stick around. It's going to be awesome. And yeah, have a great day, guys. See you.